The other thing that happens is, and I keep getting the note on it, people are really tired of you looking off into the
I'm
imaginary
so sorry.
audience.
It's because the only people reacting really well to me are over there.
I can try to
Try to do more.
Yeah.
Laugh at
Yeah. Was that good? No? Let's start. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Brian.
It is Tuesday, only Tuesday, but we are here behind the table with the indelible Sara Haines. Hello.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm trying to come up with something different every day. I'm probably repeating.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you. Let's start with a little politics.
Okay.
There was a story that we talked about this morning and didn't get to, as there often is. And it was about Congresswoman AOC not seeking a top oversight committee position, saying that the dynamics in the caucus have not shifted with respect to seniority. Trying to translate that for people who aren't political aficionados. But basically, it's this conversation about are Democrats not accepting the change of the guard that seems to be happening in that party. Is it still the older, more senior people that are given all of the top positions that are still dictating where the party's going?
It seems like my understanding of that is the focus is more on the old school traditional Democrats.
Yeah.
They want the newer wave and the younger generation. As an independent, though, who has only really voted, I tend to call myself left of center, Democratic in the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. I like more traditional Democrats. So I don't take to the AOCs in the party and a lot of the younger people. I would actually argue that when we look at this last election and they talk about how Trump won, it was also a referendum on Democrats and leaning less progressive. In fact, the only reason President Biden won in 2020 was he was the most centrist Democrat on the stage when he ran. So I would say, for as much as a lot of the younger Dems get caught up in the, we need to go more progressive, I would argue that's going further away from the solution. And there are some young, again, Democrats that I love. I think Governor Wes Moore is the number one best politician available today, period.
Wow. All
Hands
right.
down. I love that man. Alyssa Slotkin, another. So these are some younger Democrats that also have more moderate views that I think more aligned with the majority of people in this country.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Do you think others in Congress should now step away to make room for a younger generation? Is it just more about viewpoint for you?
Honestly, it's more about the viewpoint.
Yeah.
As a voter, I'm less concerned with, because to me, age is not an equal number, and that's going to come up in conversations I think we're about to have too, which is, one 80-year-old is not like another 80-year-old. One 60-year-old, 64, go to any age.
Right.
They do not equate. So it's not the arbitrary number that bothers me. I think it's the ideological divide of the party that bothers me more.
We see this every day with Joy Behar, who is, and she'll kill me for saying it,
but sassy little spunk fest.
Yes.
That one.
She's in her 80s, and it's something, her young 80s, her just
she is
entry
one
ways.
of the biggest smartasses I have ever met, and she is quicker on her toes with
quicker,
comedy than anyone I've ever.
Yeah, no, she's incredibly sharp. There's not any lag whatsoever in Joy Behar, and I've known her now for 10 years, and I don't think she's aged a day in her head at all. I mean, she is just as sharp as could be. So, but that doesn't happen for everybody.
No.
Yeah, you are much duller than you were 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
So, that's the thing.
Things have regressed. I peaked at some point along the way, and I've been going downhill.
Yeah,
ever since.
Like the first week or two I met you, I think was the peak.
I might have already been on my way down.
Yeah, see, I didn't know. But there we are. All right, so you alluded to this, but former President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will be here this Thursday. This is a huge interview. I'm very excited about it. They'll be here live. It's the first interview after leaving the White House.
Yeah.
What are you looking to hear from President Biden? I'm kind of asking everybody that.
Well, first of all, I'm honored anytime we see President Biden and Dr. Jill Biden. I'm always, that's part of the amazing perks of this job, is I've met more amazing, phenomenal politicians, presidents because of it. So I'm looking forward to talking to them. But I think, I don't know what I'm looking for them to say as much as I would love to hear them answer certain questions. I was someone who, as a fan of President Biden, who voted for him when he ran, and also voted for Vice President Harris this time around, and said I would have voted for President Biden if he'd stuck in it. I was also critical of what I was seeing of him. in the debates. And what bothers me about all the talk of it keeps going to age. He was old. Well, Donald Trump's old. Blah, blah, blah. Anyone that watched that debate, we saw what we saw. There's not a lot of disagreement.
Right.
And my concern was not, oh, there's an 80-something-year-old man. He's so old. I looked at him and thought, this seems overwhelming for him. And he's running for the most powerful and consequential job in the world. And the job isn't one day. You're running for another 4 years. When I saw him over time, he was great. I'm a personal fan of him.
His last appearance on the show, I thought he was
great.
terrific and great.
No one's hiding any. Like you see him, and he was charming. He was all the things you expect. Great. I was more critical of the people close to him that weren't saying, hey, this is a long haul. We get it. It's your dream, but for the good of the nation, for all that you do, he ultimately made the right decision. But, I had criticisms, and the fact that it's become you're with us or against us conversation is just sheer stupidity.
Right. No, I think you asked questions that needed to be asked, and we'll ask some more on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's move on to some fun topics, because it was kind of a fun show today.
Yeah.
We had Carol G, which was amazing.
She's phenomenal.
And then we did the Mother's Day favorite things, which was a lot of fun. I was used as a prop by Joy. And
we're under a table for 20 minutes.
Yeah, the table.
7 minutes, 8
I was
minutes,
there
10.
for a while, and I think I might have torn some tendons and some other stuff.
Unfortunate. You've done worse things on the show. You swallowed ash once.
Yeah, I did swallow ash once, but I mean, I'm slowly falling apart, all for the joy of the show.
She'll label each part as it falls apart.
Yes, no, exactly. She still owes me $100 for that, for drinking that ash.
That's true.
Yeah, so does David Blaine.
At least that she'll pay it directly to the hospital.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mother's Day is this weekend, actually. Do you have, we do holidays different, you and I, in general. I'm kind of panicked because I don't really have my usual festivities for my wife, and I need to...
You and Heather go so over and above in everything, from your vacations to your holidays to your birthdays, that I'm a little nervous is nailing it for everyone else in this world.
No, it's not good right now. It's not good. I've got a little bit of nothing. I've got
the
4 days
spread,
to go. Sure, I've got that. I've got breakfast nailed, but
that alone would rock my world.
I know, but I've raised the bar too high. That's the problem. Now I've got to leap over the bar.
True.
Yeah. So what do you have planned?
So I'm actually flying to Iowa because I know a year ago we talked about one of my dear family friends. They're my best friends who are twins. Their mom passed away, and I did the eulogy.
Yeah.
And we talked about it here on the podcast, and now a year later, their father is going to get remarried to, it's kind of that second chapter, but I wouldn't even call it a second equal chapter. Both of these individuals had families and soulmates that passed.
Yeah.
And so they're connecting, and it's just a small little family setting. And Gary was sweet enough to tell the girls to write me and say, but we'd like it, no pressure, but we'd love it if Sarah came. And I would not have missed it for the world. So even though it's Mother's Day, I fly back on Mother's Day, but I thought, it's these life moments that I think I missed too many along the way, and I've promised myself I won't miss any more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Max gets off the hook because you don't have that.
I'm doing Max a favor, but I get to see Emily, the friend, the one I always stay with in August, and I get to see Megan and Molly and the families and partners that come along, and it's just it's like fills my soul.
Oh, well, speaking of filling your soul and speaking of Max, I saw that Max went to a father-daughter dance with your Sandra.
They went to a father-daughter dance. And I push back a little on those titles because I know there are people that don't have fathers. And I love the littles but there was one important moment where Max, I always compare Max to the gold standard, which is my father. And my dad's a military man that was raised in a different time, and he opens the door. He is old school gentleman. Max, that's not how, a lot of, I think, people his age are. They're not, it's not as trained into them. Mm-hmm. But that night I caught Max before he walked out, and I said, oh my gosh, Max, I just had a thought. You need to open every door. You need to treat her the way you want her to be treated, because these are the moments that she will gauge her type of partner, the person that loves her. And whether that's a man, a woman, or anything else, we don't care. But I want her to be taken care of and doted on. And he goes, no, Sarah, that crossed my mind too. And so I said, every single thing, play the part of the person you want to love Sandra sometime, because that's what's resting on tonight. Good luck. Have fun.
I've gotten to do a couple of them, which is fun.
So
and
cute. I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, they're so much fun. Although in our town they call it the daddy ditch dance because it's all great until we get there, and then they all run away with their friends, and all the dads are sitting on the other side of the room.
Sandra full-blown dance with Papa.
That's great.
I got to show that to you. Yeah.
I spend most of the night getting texts from my wife. Why aren't you sending more pictures? I need to see more photos. So,
but I think Sandra gets a kick out of it because with 3 kids so close in age, we always talk about the importance of individual activities and one-on-one time, and we don't do it enough. But for that night, she's Papa's only child.
That's great.
And I think she feels that.
The pictures I saw too were so sweet and lovely.
She had hair glitter. Like she came home from school and prepared for an hour as we got into that. And everyone loved the pink boots she was in, but we had a shoe crisis. We don't get a ton of stuff. She has sneakers and like sandals, and we went to have the dress, and we were like, we don't have shoes. So I ran to Target and got this little ballet flat that was her size. It didn't fit her by a long shot. So we were stuffing toilet paper, and I thought, I don't want her uncomfortable. I don't care what she looks like. And then the boots came to mind, and funny enough, the boots have been the most talked about part of her outfit.
Well, there you go. See, it's all.
It worked.
I know. Yeah, my youngest is leaving elementary school this year and going to middle school. So this was my last one.
Little Lily.
Yeah, that was hard. But we had a good time.
Oh my gosh, the next time we'll be on our wedding day.
Oh, stop it. That's ridiculous. All right.
It's so true though, Brian. But whatever. Go on.
Speaking of your kids.
Yeah.
I hear Caleb has had his first. I'm sorry. I'm going to do this again, but I started to read it, and it says his first tap dance recital. I swear to God, it read like lap dance for me. I was looking at this. Like, so Caleb had speaking of dad time, he took him for his first lap dance.
We're really progressive as a family, and yeah.
I'm looking at it like, first lap? What?
Tired Brian is kind of fun.
Yeah, all right, here we go. All right, well, speaking of your kids, I hear Caleb had a big milestone. He had his first tap recital.
Yep.
Now, my kids are in dance classes constantly, so I understand the importance of recitals.
Yep.
And of the difficulty of tap. Tell me about this.
Well, it's still coming up. He's just in the last stretch before he does it. But he had always run around putting on like slippers and saying, "Mama, watch me tap." And it wasn't like when you're looking at him, you're like, wow, you sure have a talent. But he definitely had a passion.
Okay.
So I kept seeing it, and I found this dance class. And so he's in a tap, jazz, ballet, whatever the trifecta is. And it was kind of sad because he always said he wanted to tap, and he never understood out in the world tapping. And there are so many amazing tappers. He gets into that class, and he was the only boy, and he was fine in the beginning, but he had a growth moment where he felt different, and he kept understanding like, why are they all girls, and why? And the teacher was male. So I started to have these conversations with him about, people are staring at you because you're different in this class, and they like it. Like, you're the unique one. So halfway through he wanted to quit, and I talked him into, let's finish this. Let's finish it and see how it turns out. And he's like, well, I don't like the ballet. I was like, that's fine, boo. But let's finish to the recital, and then you can decide. But I'm so excited because all the kids are like, oh, there's a stage. And then he said, can I do whatever I want when I get on the stage? I was like, no, the whole point of the class is you're learning a routine.
Right, that you paid for.
It's not an improv and it's not a solo. But so I we'll get to see it. And I'm really excited for him. And I'm hoping he sees the magical part of it, even though he has felt a little.
Does he feel like a performer in general? Is that like something else? If it's not dance, is it something else?
Well, so Sandra is more of the performer.
Right.
And if Caleb's going to do anything, it's going to be something making people laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid walks around, and he'll just walk around the corner and have his clothes hamper on his head and then say, who threw my laundry? Like, he does the stupidest. And we're all like dying. We're like, Caleb, what is wrong with you? The kid is just a nut job.
He's going to live your sketch. He's going to live your sketch comedy dreams.
You know what? I laugh at everything he does.
Right.
So it'll be fun to see where he goes. For sure, he'll be bringing smiles.
I mean, when you talk about him feeling different in that class, does that resonate with you as a kid at all? Did you ever feel different?
It resonates for so many people that felt self-conscious. It was like one of the first times, whenever you're a parent and you send your kid into the world, I remember crying at preschool orientation because there was an understanding that was the first time as a parent I was sending my child out to interact with the world regularly. Mm-hmm. And I kind of had that moment with Caleb in this dance class the one time when he came and he said, Mama, it's only girls. And he didn't feel okay. And I thought, awesome. Like, you're the center focus. Like, this is great. And it made me sad because I saw the world shaping him. Because before the world told him that girls were dance, he wanted to dance. And so that's why I feel the need to not force him, but just keep him interested. I started showing him famous tap dancers because there's a lot of male legendary.
We had Dule Hill here. You could have done that. Yeah.
There's so many. And then to see like Anna Giacometti on our staff, I was trying to explain to her, she was a ballerina. And I showed pictures and I said, everyone lifting her, everyone dancing with her, that's a boy.
Right.
Like there are boys up there. And so
you need Billy Elliot.
I know. I just needed something to show him this is not the representation of dance, the world, the culture.
And he still might decide that's not for him anymore. But,
and he might, because he is a tank and rhythm might not be his strong suit, but he sure is having fun when he's doing it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Before we go, I want to talk about the Met Gala a bit because we had Whoopi's amazing look.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was blown away. Like, that was great. But I heard that you saw one of your favorite designers this past weekend. Tell me about this.
Sergio Hudson.
Yeah.
So Derek Monroe.
He had his behind-the-scenes Beauty Day soiree.
Yes. And he did his first brunch last year, and he did a different event. This was the second one. And the elevation and the honorees and all the work put into it, it was so cute because we know a lot of these people in the industry. Part of Sergio's speech, which just like really was moving to me, is I see him as this iconic designer. He's very close with Kiki Palmer, who I adore and love, and she floats around the world and has pictures with him. And I just think he's like in this other world. Right when he starts his speech, he says how much it means to see people that wear his clothing, like Sarah, because we had just talked, and Sunny, and he talked about the view and how much it means to him when he's having a day where you kind of, everyone from the outside says he's set, he's successful, he's good, but everyone knows that's not what it's ever like. And he goes, the uplift of my spirit when I see the pride I take in seeing people wear what I've made, it like changes everything. And so he did the WNBA players, and what I loved about that is women's sports, but women's basketball is unique to me, or really special to me, is having such a moment to know we're living in a time where the Met Gala features professional female basketball players.
Right.
You know, this isn't just the 90s when like Michael Jordan, there were a lot of other great players, but like Michael Jordan is the name you throw around. There are people showing up everywhere in commercials. You know, we had a Super Bowl with the first ever female athletics commercial, like just female, you know, like there's just such a moment happening right now. And as an athlete that's where I felt, that's when you asked, did I relate to Caleb? As a female athlete growing up when I did, you straddled the lines of what the girls that everyone wanted to be around were cheerleaders and dancers.
Right.
The athletes were kind of like, you know, they're smart. Like, that's it. You know, and I took such pride in who I was and the box that I just didn't fit the mold in every way. And so I remember not quite feeling like I fit in to see these players do this. It was kind of a moment where I saw them receiving that inclusion of like, no, you're one of us. You can be fancy too.
See, you were just too late to the game. That's for if it was just 10 years
because I definitely
earlier.
would have been a professional player.
You would have been Caitlin Clark. I'm sure it would have happened.
I mean, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today,
Thank you,
Sarah.
Brian.
Tomorrow, I'll be back with Sunny Hostin and a special guest, Star Jones, who's visiting the show tomorrow. So we're going to have...
that's some lawyer on lawyer action.
It's exactly what we're setting it up for.
I love
this.
that.
We have our OG lawyer, Star Jones, is here.
Please play a clip of how many times Sunny says I'm a prosecutor and Star Jones says I'm a lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really...
They got to share the shirt.
I don't think we have that kind of time, but we'll do what we can. I'm excited. I was excited to be with the OGs.
Yes.
So we will see you then.